What's going on, guys? Ants Trades back with another video. What an absolutely fucking beautiful day we got today. Absolutely beautiful. I could not have even dreamt of a better day than today. Not even close to what I was expecting in a good way. Everything went perfect today. It was absolutely beautiful. I'm very happy with the price action today on everything, on SPY, on AMC, on APE. Everything looks good. Let's just jump right into the video, starting with SPY. Before I jump into the daily here, I'm going to mention this again because this is bullish as fuck, and I'm just going to keep saying it every single video because this is a 2-year long descending broadening wedge, 2-year long downtrend on SPY that we found the bottom here and have just been forming higher highs, higher lows, all the way breaking out of a 2-year long downtrend to the upside. And here is where we are today. Jumping really quick into what we're looking at on SPY right now. SPY saw a gap down this morning to approximately 410.30. From there, you saw some more downside, come down to 409.50, find a bounce, and spent the rest of the day climbing all the way up to 414 roughly. SPY closed roughly at the high of the day. Relatively low volume. I keep saying I'm taking the volume on SPY with a grain of salt, as I think the market makers are trying to make this seem a little bull trappy, when in reality it is bullish as fuck, and we all know that. As mainstream media is screaming market crash in your face, they're setting up a bullish reversal right here and having SPY break to the upside. Again, do not listen to mainstream media. They are full of shit, and they're not trying to help you make money. So here's what we have on SPY. Here's your bull trend on the daily, and here's your upper resistance that I've been talking about. And we've just been ping-ponging back and forth between 416, 410, and 406, support and resistance. Ever since we hit our local high of about 418.30, we've just been ping-ponging in between support and resistance. Found your bull trend here, up and down, and this is where we're sitting today. We're sitting right under our upper resistance here. Overall, guys, it looks really fucking good. I don't know how else to say it. Looking at the EMAs, very, very close to a golden cross at this point on SPY. About 25 cents away. The 50 is 25 cents away from the 200. More than likely, you're going to see a golden cross on SPY tomorrow. Seeing a golden cross on SPY on the daily is a big deal. That is a very, very bullish indicator. Indicating a shift in the trend. Bulls are in control, and this thing is looking for some more continuation to the upside. We're waiting for this pattern to play out. I keep mentioning that AMC and APE are waiting on SPY to make a decision here. It's looking like we're going to get a decision by Friday. Having closed right under the wedge, the symmetrical triangle under your upper resistance here, having closed right under it, and seeing as we're going to be seeing a golden cross on SPY at some point tomorrow, most likely, I would not be surprised to see this thing break to the upside tomorrow. And with that, you're going to find some resistance along the way, 416 maybe. This thing is going to be heading towards 426 once it breaks 416 very fast. So I would not be surprised to see SPY break out of this tomorrow. I would also not be surprised to see SPY, trade sideways in here, heading into Friday, and then maybe on Friday you get your move. I would not be surprised to see a doji here tomorrow. Maybe you get a head fake to the downside. I really doubt that, seeing as all these wicks here are just higher highs from Friday, just higher highs on all of these wicks. You're forming higher highs here. Higher highs, higher lows, everything looks very good. So again, I would not be surprised to see a sideways day for SPY tomorrow. Maybe a doji, maybe you gap down in the morning and, spend the day here. Maybe you find a bounce on 410. 410 looked very, very strong today. 410 support looked very good. SPY did not look too happy to be under 410, claimed it very fast, came back up. Maybe you see a gap down tomorrow and just, get a doji here, or possibly SPY breaks out of this and continues its trend to the upside. Either way, it looks very fucking good. Bullish as fuck. I don't know what else to say anymore. We're just waiting for this decision to be made. I'm very convicted in my TA. I think that, I'm very bullish on SPY, very bullish on AMC, very bullish on APE. I don't see SPY breaking this thing to the downside. Having said that, it's going to be breaking to the upside, and you're going to see some upward price action with AMC and APE as well. So that's pretty much it for SPY. It looks fucking great, guys. It really does. Hopping into AMC now. Not even close to the day that I was expecting, in a good way. in a good way. I mentioned in my video yesterday that maybe, we see a double bottom here on the trend and then trade sideways in this range here all day. Instead, what we got was a very solid volume day. This is the highest volume that we've seen since the day after the halt, this bearish engulfing candle that we have here. We've just seen decreasing volume here on the pullback back to the trend since we broke out. Today, highest volume day that we've seen since that bearish engulfing candle on Tuesday following the halt, and a little bit more than 15% in the green today for AMC. It looks so good. It looks so fucking good, guys. It really does. I'm so bullish. I really am. I'm bullish as fuck. It looks really good. Jumping into the 1 hour really quick, and I'll just go into this really quick. And I'll say this again. As SPY broke out of a 2-year-long downtrend, so has AMC. From your bottoming action here, you find some gaps and work your way up to the top of the wedge, get rejected off of it, and then spend 2 weeks in retracement here, rejected here again, before you finally break out, test, get some upward price action, gap up, and then we were trading in this. We get halted, and we've seen nothing but a repeating bear flag over and over and over again. That took us all the way back down to the top of our wedge, which I mentioned from the beginning was a possibility. I mentioned that was a possibility, and that's what happened. And we found support here, and spent the day yesterday. We have a couple wicks below it on the 1 hour, and found support and bounced 15% into the green today. It looks fucking amazing, guys. It looks really, really good. This is exactly what I was expecting. I've been waiting for this breakout for a very long time. We finally get it. We come back down to test the breakout, test the top of the wedge as support. It held as support, and we got 15% in the green today. Bullish as fuck if I've ever seen it. This is beautiful for us. I said that we needed to find a bounce on the top of the wedge, guys. Absolutely needed to. I mentioned yesterday maybe you double bottom this and then spend the day sideways here. Heading into Thursday, you see some upside into this range, into the 460, 490, trade sideways here, forming some kind of an inverse head and shoulders. Instead, today we just got a fucking rocket right off the wedge. I love to see this. It looks very good. Really quickly, I'm going to jump into a split screen and show you guys what I was looking at today while I was live streaming. I've been comparing this move, the breakout pattern, to the breakout pattern that we got in May before we got the squeeze in June. The 3 fractals that I spoke about a million times. It followed January perfectly. You could probably still argue that it is, but this move to me, it looks more like the breakout pattern that you have back here in May, where you finally break out of your pattern here, symmetrical triangle more or less, gap up, and then you just start ripping to the upside, and then you have some higher highs here to a point, higher lows to a point, just the same way that we do here. You gap up here, you have some higher highs to a point, higher lows to a point, and then you see downside. Here it was a gap down, and you spent some time trading in this range here, carving a bottom before you blast off in June to all-time highs, and that's exactly what we have here as well. Now, I mentioned that there's two scenarios that I could possibly see here, and the first one is we get knocked off of this trend tomorrow, come back down, and you form some kind of movement like this. That's scenario 2, and then you blast off. Kind of how it does it over here, where you're trading sideways in this range, just getting knocked off this trend line until you finally break it and start ripping to the upside. It's pretty much the same amount of days too, from the gap to from gap to where this thing starts ripping over here in May was 11 days. From gap to where we are today is 13 days. It's pretty much the same amount of time. Following this pattern, you would be getting scenario 2 where you'd see some more downside and then rip to the upside probably sometime next week. I don't know how likely that is, seeing as SPY, where SPY sitting ready to break out of its pattern. I think SPY is going to be seeing green either tomorrow or Friday, breaking out of that symmetrical triangle and continuing its bull trend upwards to like the 420s. I don't know how likely it is for AMC to get knocked off of this and form this pattern here before it rips. Having said that, let me just take these off really quick. Like a 15% green day today, I don't know how much sense it really makes to come back down. I'm not saying it's impossible. I just showed you the 2 scenarios that you could possibly get here. Either way, we're at the finish line. This thing looks like it's ready to see some upside, like serious upside. Um, one second. Seeing as like the day that we got today, I don't know how likely it is to come back down and form that pattern. This I wouldn't be surprised to see it where you come back down here and you start bouncing up and down like this, carving a bottom here and just ripping to the upside. I After seeing today and where SPY's sitting, I wouldn't even be surprised if this thing just starts blasting off tomorrow. It looks really fucking good. It does. You know, I really don't even know what to say anymore. I could not even ask for a better day. Just just look at this. Rejection off the wedge, 2 weeks retracement, break it, gap up. Um, we get halted for our protection here. I feel so safe from that halt. I still do. I feel so protected from that. You come all the way back down to the top of the wedge, and you find support here, and then get 15% in the green today. You could maybe argue that this is the first day of the squeeze here. Like, no bullshit. You could probably argue that this is the first day of the squeeze here. Just looking at this from the macro too. Let's just jump back to the daily. Just looking at the macro, right? You have your descending wedge here, and very well respected. Peak January, peak June to a point, and you have your flag. You break down from the flag, and then you're following these three fractals here that I've mentioned a million times, and respecting this wedge very, very well the whole time. 2 wicks below here, you come right back up the next day. 13 wicks off the top of the wedge here. This wedge is very, very well respected this whole time. Another wick here. 10 days trading down here. And here's where we are. We're at the end of the wedge. We're at the end of the three fractals that I've mentioned in my theory video, and I keep mentioning. 10 days trading on the bottom here. You find some gaps up to the top of the wedge, get rejected, retrace, break it, gap up, get halted for our protection, come all the way back down to the top of the wedge, establish support, and then a 15% green day on the highest volume candle that we've seen since the halt. Guys, this looks so fucking good. It really does. You could maybe argue that this is the first day of the squeeze. Now, I showed you the two scenarios. I mentioned that maybe you can come back down and, form some kind of a W pattern here. I don't know how likely that is after seeing today's price action. I'm not saying it's impossible, but this thing might just fucking start rocketing for real. Again, nothing I ever say is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do not make any financial decisions based on what I'm saying. But guys, it looks really, really good. That's pretty much it. It looks very, very good. What am I expecting for tomorrow? Scenario one, where we come back down, you're probably going to see a very, very red day tomorrow. If we do get scenario one, I don't really think that's likely, to be honest. I'm just mentioning it because it's a possibility where you can come all the way back down. Maybe you get a gap down and then come all the way back down, double bottom, and then form some kind of W like that. Otherwise, you're looking at another green day, probably find some resistance here around like the 590 area, or if you break through that, 610 is what I'm looking for tomorrow. Anything more than that, I'll take it. It's looking very good. We're gonna know tomorrow. We're gonna know tomorrow pretty much whether we are gonna be coming back down to test the wedge again, or carve this bottom out a little bit more. If we see another solid green day tomorrow, like the day that we got today, it's pretty safe to say this thing is about to start fucking rocketing into next week. Especially if we get a higher volume day tomorrow, another green day, maybe gap up, maybe fill this gap. It looks really good. It looks really, really good. I'm excited for tomorrow. I already am. I left work early today to stream the end of the day. It looks very, very good. Jumping really quickly into Ape now. Seeing what we got on Ape. Ape saw a very solid day as well. A little bit higher volume than this, this bullshit decreasing volume here on the pullback. Pretty much sideways. I drew this trend line here. This is the trend that you have on Ape right now. Looks pretty good. Ape is going to follow with AMC. It's just been bouncing off this trend here. So forming higher lows there. It looks good. It looks solid to me. Higher volume day today. It was brought to my attention that there was a 17 million volume candle on a 1 minute candle today. I don't know how accurate that is. I was streaming, and then some of the people were telling me there was a 17 million volume candle on Ape on a 1 minute candle, and I saw some pictures in my Discord because on TradingView it wasn't showing me anything that even remotely resembled that. The candle that they were talking about on TradingView had 2.2k volume. Who the fuck knows? Like, we all know there's crime here, so I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
I'm not surprised to see anything like that. I'm looking at my phone right now. AMC is doing pretty good after hours too. It's pretty much flat, just holding up. So tomorrow is looking very solid for us guys. If we have a green day tomorrow, another green day to the extent that we did today, it's probably safe to say, guys, that we are going to start ripping to the upside probably next week. Again, no dates. I'm not even going to fuck around with dates anymore. But if we have another solid green day tomorrow, however we get it, a gap up, a full bar, whatever the case may be, if we see an increase in volume tomorrow and another green day, it's probably safe to say this thing is about to start running. Really quickly, I just want to mention this again. I mentioned this earlier as well. We do not need to get very far before things start getting absolutely fucking crazy. It's not very far, guys. I threw this up before. I'm going to do it again. That one's a little off, but whatever. These red highlighter dots here are the halts that we've seen on AMC since this mess started. You have your January squeeze here, your June squeeze, your June peak, and then I mentioned that this descending trend line, this descending resistance line here, is pretty much your volatility zone, and all these red dots are halts that we've seen on the stock. And I mentioned that the volatility zone on AMC is getting lower and lower by the day. Now, you can see it's getting lower and lower at where we're getting halted here, and as is the trend line. And for the first time, we broke out of the trend. We broke out of the descending wedge, and we got halted above at roughly 720, 730 area. If we get back into, so it's pretty safe to say the volatility zone right now is like around $7. So if we get back into that area, you're talking $2 in the green. Things could get fucking crazy very fast. I mentioned this before. We are going to see halts to the upside. Once we start running, we're going to see halts. Once you see your first halt and you're continuing to the upside, that's how you know it's fucking game time. Every halt that we've seen has been followed by some massive downside. Even our last one, almost probably like 45% to the downside to come all the way back down and test the wedge. Test the wedge at support. We held it 15% in the green today. It looks like we're going to be heading back up into that area. We're $2 away from this volatility zone here at $7. If we crack into that and break through it, and you see a halt, and the price just keeps climbing post halt, it's probably safe to say you're in your squeeze, and things are about to get very fucking crazy. So that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. I'm very, very excited for tomorrow. I'm praying to see another green day like this. I wouldn't be mad to be red and to come back down and really carve this bottom out, but overall it looks really fucking good. I have absolutely no complaints. I'm bullish as fuck. All the shills can hold my nuts. MILF squad can hold my nuts. Fucking everyone can hold my nuts. I cannot wait for this thing to squeeze. I really can't. I have some business I need to attend to in California. I'm very excited for that. With that being said, guys, have a great night, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.